Move over, Australia. The land down under might be known for being the home of the world's most dangerous creatures, but did you know that there are creatures even more terrifying and deadly living on the other side of the world? In Brazil? Yeah, Brazil might not be the first place that springs to your mind when you think of fierce, poisonous animals that can kill you in a heartbeat. But this South American country is actually the home of hundreds of deadly species. From fanged fish that hunt in packs to insects that can deliver the most painful bite on the planet, these are the 15 most dangerous animals in Brazil.
You have to dance to release the pain, Amish.
Okay, can we dance then?
Centipedes. Now, centipedes are creepy at the best of times, but these giant insects are truly horrifying. Yet in South America, the spooky centipede can reach extreme lengths in the jungle, growing to almost a foot in length. These oversized insect critters are blind, which only makes them more nervous, and they've been known to viciously lash out at anything that may cross its path. With powerful jaws that can break through skin, this freaky invertebrate is capable of injecting an excruciating venom that can cause paralysis and even death. Don't underestimate this colossal bug. Amazonian giant centipedes have been known to kill mice 15 times their size, and they kill their prey by wrapping their long, powerful bodies around their prey and holding them still. They'll just eat about any creature they can get their legs around, including tarantulas, small lizards, frogs, birds, snakes, rodents, and bats. No one is safe from the clutches of the giant centipede. Hey, did you know that if you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you're more likely to win the lottery? So what are you waiting for? Black caiman. Ancient dinosaurs lurk in the murky waters of the Amazonian rainforest. Measuring a whopping 13 feet in length on average, the black caiman is a creepy crocodilian that's been known to reach a staggering 20 feet in length.
Look at that! Look at that, it's a huge black caiman. Look at the size of it.
That's right, the largest alligator species in the world lives in Brazil. Their unique black appearance helps them to camouflage during hunts, as well as absorbing heat in the humid rainforest. This prehistoric alligator lives off a diet of capybaras, deer, dogs, and pigs, and have even been known to target humans. Yeah, black caimans are definitely not afraid of people, and these killer crocs were responsible for 43 attacks on people in the space of 5 years, suggesting they're getting bolder and even more aggressive. There's no doubt about it, this shady critter is definitely one of the more dangerous animals in Brazil. Now, while we're on the topic of ravenous reptiles, let's move on to our next creepy creature. Anacondas. Yet we couldn't give you our top 15 dangerous Brazilian animals without including the legendary anaconda. This monster snake is feared all over South America, and while it isn't venomous, it can kill you in an even more terrifying way. This giant serpent is a member of the boa constrictor family, crushing its prey to death with its super strong muscles. This is one creature that you definitely wouldn't want to cuddle. This Amazon native is the largest type of snake in the entire world in terms of overall mass, and a shocking video of an enormous anaconda slithering through the Amazon River appears to show a 50-foot-long specimen that might be the biggest snake ever seen. While their huge bodies slow them down on land, they can swim stealthily through the water at great speeds. They reach their mind-blowing size by feeding on wild hogs, deer, and even jaguars, and they're famous for swallowing their prey whole. We couldn't think of a worse way to go. No one is safe from the giant anaconda. Electric eels. Our next deadly creature is bound to shock you, literally. Growing as long as 8 feet, the giant electric eel can generate an electrical charge of up to 600 volts and deliver excruciating shocks that are 10 times more powerful than a taser. That's right, this sneaky slithering eel is actually powerful enough to knock a horse right off its feet. In fact, a seriously strong shock might even be enough to end your life. And the electric abilities don't end there. They can produce a low charge that functions as a built-in radar system, allowing them to track down their next victim in the dark waters of the Amazon. So, how do they produce so much electricity under the water? Well, it's all down to their unique electrocells. These cells in the eel's organs can shuffle sodium and potassium around, creating natural surges of electricity, and the eel can produce these charges at will. don't look at an electric eel the wrong way because it just might turn on you. Goliath bird-eater spider. We've had evil insects, supersized snakes, killer crocs, and electric eels. But there is one deadly creature that will leave you shaking with fear. We are, of course, talking about the Goliath bird-eater spider. Arachnophobes, look away right now. This 6-ounce, 12-inch arachnid is certainly big enough to live up to its bird-eating reputation. But in actual fact, it's mostly munching on insects, rodents, and frogs. And don't even think about getting too close to this creepy crawly. The Goliath is covered in prickly barbed hairs that it can fire at its enemies by rubbing its 8 legs together. Don't mess with this massive Brazilian spider. When it comes to hunting, the Goliath bird-eater spider doesn't waste its time weaving webs, choosing instead to ambush its prey. Once it's found a victim to drag back to its lair, it injects the unfortunate creature with deadly neurotoxins using its sharp needle-like fangs. Yet this has to be one of the most terrifying tarantulas in the animal kingdom. Piranha. They might be small, but they're seriously deadly. These freaky fish hunt in packs and can take down large animals much larger than themselves, working together to shred their prey with scissor-like teeth. In fact, it's believed that a shoal of piranha can tear apart cattle in just a matter of seconds, engaging in feeding frenzies that can see up to 1,000 fish gathering to feed. The word piranha means toothfish in the Brazilian language of the Tupi people, and they're famous for their distinctive underbite, which exposes the bottom row of their razor-sharp teeth.
Towards food, taking a bite, and then instantly swimming away at great pace. They don't actually hunt.
There are at least 20 different species in the Amazon River alone, averaging around 6 to 10 inches in length, although some of the biggest piranha ever recorded measured a whopping 20 inches. They have a powerful sense of smell that helped them find their next meal in the dark and murky waters, and despite their bloodthirsty reputation, they're actually omnivores, eating everything from fish and sharks to nuts and fruit, and their bark is as bad as their bite. Yeah, that's right, fishermen have actually observed red-bellied piranha making a strange barking sound when threatened. These guys are like the Rottweilers of the Amazon River. Bull sharks. As if the killer fish weren't bad enough already, Brazil is also home to the most dangerous sharks in the world. Yet bull sharks are notoriously aggressive, and they seem to particularly enjoy harassing humans. These ocean bullies make great white sharks look like goldfish. They mostly live in shallow waters, making stray swimmers easy targets, and the bull shark is infamous for its unpredictable and erratic behavior. Just like their namesake, the bull, their signature move is to headbutt their prey. It's also believed that they're aggravated by bright colors and have been known to attack colorful fishing nets for no particular reason. Talk about hot-headed. These perpetually furious fish have the strongest bite force of any shark at 1,300 pounds per square inch and enjoy a varied diet of dolphins, turtles, and even sloths. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Payera. This fiendish fish literally eats piranhas for breakfast. The river-dwelling payera is also known as the vampire fish or the water wolf, thanks to their razor-sharp fangs that can grow up to 6 inches long. These menacing creatures can grow up to 3 feet long and have been known to chase away much larger fish with no intention of eating them, just so that they have more room in the water to hunt. Yet the payera is notoriously antisocial, and they don't like to share. And these vampire fish have quite the appetite. They can consume up to 50% of their own body weight in one meal, spearing their prey and swallowing them whole.
A relative of the piranha. It's an arms war down there. Everything's got teeth. Everything is eating everything else.
Tropical fish owners have even documented their pets eating all the other fish in the aquarium, just because they can. This is one mean fish. Suddenly, piranhas don't look so bad. Blue poison dart frog. This killer frog will leave you feeling blue. Yeah, this tiny amphibian might be miniature in size, but their bodies contain enough deadly poison to kill 10 fully grown humans. This sinister substance is called a bactrocotoxin and is known to cause paralysis and death even in the tiniest of doses.
So these guys need to eat that particular animal in order to become toxic.
Mother frogs will even absorb their tadpoles with this lethal poison so that their babies are just as deadly as they are. The toxic compounds come from their prey, especially certain types of poisonous ants that they eat when they then absorb them into their sticky skin. Each frog has a totally unique pattern of spots, just like human fingerprints, and their brightly colored appearance is designed to be a warning to any potential predators who might be lurking in the jungle. Hunters and rainforest tribes even craft special poison arrows using the deadly toxin harvested from the blue poison dart frogs, hunting monkeys and birds in the treetops. Yeah, this little frog might look like a cute critter, but it's a cold-blooded killer. Jaguar. It doesn't matter if you're on land or in the water, the majestic jaguar is the king of the jungle. Feasting on sloths, turtles, and even caimans, jaguars catch their prey by going straight for the head or taking a lunge for the neck. In fact, the name jaguar comes from the Native American word jaguar, which means who kills with one leap. Jaguars have even been spotted dipping their tails into the water like a rod in order to lure fish to the surface. If any cat should be crowned the king of the jungle, it should be the jaguar. Their territories can span across a whopping 50 miles, and they mark out the boundaries of their kingdom by scratching their long, sharp claws down tree trunks in the rainforest. Not only are jaguars the biggest cats in South America, but they're the biggest cats in all of the Americas and the third largest cats in the world, reaching up to 6 feet and 250 pounds. And they don't just have the advantage of size on their side, these ferocious felines also possess powerful jaws that can slice right through bone and even turtle shells. Giant otters. Brazil is home to some of the world's most dangerous animals, and this has to be one of the most surprising of them all. Yet you might know these lovable creatures for their cute habits, like holding hands while they sleep and keeping pebbles as pets. But there's a sinister side to the otter that not many people know about. That's right, the giant otter is a ruthless killer, just like everything else in the jungle. Growing up to 6 feet, they're the world's largest otter, and we have to admit these semi-aquatic creatures aren't anything like their cute and cuddly creatures that we're used to. They live in large social groups of up to 20 individuals, and have even been known to take down anacondas, black caiman, and fish like piranha. Yeah, these otters are utterly fearless. While they rarely attack humans, otters have been known to randomly ambush humans who have wandered into their territory. In North America, a woman from Montana claimed she needed 8 stitches to her head after being attacked by an otter while tubing on the Madison River. And an 8-year-old boy and his grandmother were attacked in a river in Washington state by a 4-foot-long feral otter in 2014. We'll never look at otters in the same light again. Golden lancehead. Located off the coast of Brazil, this mysterious island is so dangerous that it's guarded by the Navy to make sure that no one ever steps foot onto this deadly rock. Yep, Ilha de Queimada Grande is home to over 4,000 golden lancehead vipers, a sinister snake with one of the most poisonous venoms known to man. One bite from this cold-blooded serpent can melt away your flesh, and it's been over 100 years since anyone has dared to live here. Known as Snake Island, there are a whopping 5 snakes per square meter on this island, and these vipers have well and truly invaded it. Just one of these snakes would be bad enough, let alone thousands of them. You need a permit from local authorities to get anywhere near this deadly island, but we can't imagine why you would ever want to visit here in the first place. Mata turtle. Yep, if any army of snakes wasn't bad enough, even the turtles in Brazil are extremely dangerous. The name Mata actually translates to kill in Spanish, which, let's face it, tells you everything you need to know. This long-necked reptile is one of the oldest creatures in the Amazon River and one of the most deadly. You don't survive for millions of years without being one of the toughest creatures to ever exist after all. And this creepy camouflaged creature hides in the murky jungle waters, disguising itself as a dirty pile of floating leaves. It remains perfectly still until its unlucky victim passes by, and then it strikes. This sneaky shelled beast uses its long, slender neck to suck in its prey, using its mouth as a vacuum to swallow up its prey whole. Gross. It's official, the Mata is one of the creepiest turtles we've ever laid our eyes on. Brazilian wandering spider. Sorry, arachnophobes, there are many deadly spiders in Brazil, but the worst one of them all has to be this creepy fella. The Guinness Book of World Records has named the Brazilian wandering spider as the most venomous spider in the world. As you may have guessed by their name, they wander across the rainforest floor, hunting for their next target. Their bite causes an intense burning pain, profuse sweating, paralysis, and finally asphyxiation. They're a member of the Phonutria genus, a word which literally means murderous in ancient Greek. Oh great, just when we thought this terrifying tarantula couldn't get any worse. When threatened, this aggressive arachnid will lift its front pair of legs, revealing a threatening red patch of hair surrounding its lethal fangs. Yeah, these 8-legged freaks are stone-cold killers, and they ditched traditional spider webs in favor of wandering the jungle in search of their next victim. And it looks like the Brazilian wandering spider has started to wander in a new direction. Yeah, these outrageous arachnids made headlines recently when they started turning up in bunches of bananas bought from grocery stores as far away as the UK. Bullet ant. Yeah, we hate to end this video with bad news, but even the ants in Brazil are super deadly. The bullet ant is the largest ant in the world at over an inch in length. And that's not the only record-breaking fact when it comes to this ominous insect. It also has one of the most painful bites on Earth, and it's said to be 30 times more painful than a bee sting. Some people have even described the bullet ant bite as a similar pain to being shot, hence the name bullet. Yep, this excruciating pain is caused by an injection of ponerotoxin, and the poison spreads throughout your entire body over a period of 3 hours. In particularly nasty cases, the agony has even lasted for a whole day. In some tribes in the Amazon, it's actually a rite of passage to wear a glove filled with bullet ants and let them bite you. Ouch, no thanks. On the plus side, once the dangerous toxins have been flushed from your system, survivors are said to experience a huge, euphoric surge of adrenaline that can last for up to a week. It's still a no for me. Yikes, danger lurks around every corner in Brazil. If you ever find yourself in this incredible country, you might want to watch your step. There's some seriously dangerous animals on the loose. Yeah, we definitely wouldn't want to bump into any of these petrifying predators on a dark night. So which one of these deadly creatures is the most frightening of them all? You can let us know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. You can also hit subscribe for more awesome Missing Files content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.